Good evening, folks. Can you hear me? I was in this great establishment last night, and it's a great place. I was on a dance floor on my crutches, and the young lady asked me to dance, and I did dance with her. I got a story for both the ladies and for the men. I'll start off with a story for the ladies first. When I was writing the book, Walter's Way, I have produced a movie. And the story about the movie's in the book. But I was out in Hollywood getting the distributor for the movie. And I was on Sunset Strip and having a beer and something, and in walks in George Clooney. George Clooney and his entourage, Matt and the other guy, okay? George. Affleck. Now, I was at the bar and George sat down at the table, and I went over to George and introduced myself because I knew his father. His father was an investment banker in New York City. A great guy, handsome guy, smart guy. So George was very interested, and I knew his dad. So George and I became good friends. And while I was out in Hollywood, I hung around with George and the boys. And what happened is George says to me, you know, well, we're going to go on vacation. And before I complete the story, I want to tell you something. Some guy came up to me and said I only have 5 minutes to talk. I don't know who the guy was, but I have to talk more than 5 minutes. But so George comes up to me and says, how would you like to go on vacation with us? And I said, great. So I went over to Lake Como in Italy with George, where he has a mansion over there. And girls, I can tell you, everything you know about George is true. What a guy, and I had a great time. But because I have restriction in time tonight, I can't tell the rest of the story, but I really I'd like to tell you, but I got a story for the guys. While I was doing the book, I also had met other people, and the story for the guys is this. I was interested in the Amazon tribe down in the Amazon region, down South America. And since I had produced a movie, I was going to do a documentary on the Amazon region. So I went down there, and I was in there about a week, and I took a Jeep. And we went around to see what the region was all about and where I should shoot the documentary. Lo and behold, I ran into a group of Amazon women. And I was captured by the Amazon women. Now, some people will say I surrendered, but that is not true. I was captured by the Amazon women. And I really stayed there for 2 years. And after 2 years, I escaped. Now, people ask me, why would I escape from the Amazon women? And the answer is, I don't know why. We all make mistakes in life. I think that was a big mistake I made. But I want to tell you a little bit more about the Amazon women. They had a ceremony each Saturday, religious ceremony. And for 50 years or more, this religious ceremony was interrupted by a fact of nature. And it was interrupted by bats that came out and interrupted the ceremony by the incense must have attracted the bats or whatever the bats like. And all the bats came out each Saturday, which was the day of the ceremony, the religious ceremony, and the girls were very, very upset. And I was with them, and they said, gee, nobody's been able to solve this problem in 50 years. So I was thinking back, I said to myself, I remember when I was in the book, I'll talk about it, when I was an altar boy at St. Mary Gate of Heaven Church. And we had a problem with St. Mary Gate of Heaven Church with the pigeons. And we always had pigeons bothering us in the cathedral. It was a beautiful church. And we couldn't get rid of the pigeons. We had people come in, exterminators and what you have. We spent a lot of money, but the pigeon persisted to come. We had a priest that was the pastor, Father Kelly, and he was a wise old Irishman, and he came up with an idea how to get rid of the pigeons. And lo and behold, it worked. So I remembered back that 50 years or so, and I told the girls, I have a theory that might work for the bats, and you'll have peace and tranquility in your ceremony. They said, if you do, we'll call you Master. Today with the girls, I'm called Master. And guys, here's what we could do. If some guys would sell 1,000 books, I could take them back down to the girls in the Amazon. Boy, you have a good time there. Now, what did I do to take care of the situation? I remember Father Kelly. So what I did is I went around to each cave where the bat was, and then since I was an altar boy, I had authority to baptize them and convert them to Catholics. So the bats only showed up twice a year at Christmas and Easter. And I was the hero of the girls. So that is some of my stories I want to tell you. Another story about the book. Once you put the book together and connect the dots, there's an old saying, my friends, that there's no atheist in the foxhole. Everybody says, oh my God, oh my God. Once you connect the dots in your life, who came in and out of your life, there can't be that many coincidences. I'm convinced, after writing the book, I was convinced before, but even more after connecting all the dots of my life, that there is divine providence that brought me to certain places. Things that are unexpected. Meant a lot, changed my life forever. In fact, I was going to talk about it, but I don't have time now. But I did write a couple of things down there for a chapter on that fact. One thing, anything the book receives, and receipts of the book, whatever contribution goes to a place up in state New York I'm interested in and a sponsor of, called Center for Discovery. Now we have 1,500 children up there that have cerebral palsy, 850 people up there, children up there that have autism. I had TB and was probably the most unlikely guy to succeed when I was 28 years old. I've been covering for TB at that time. It's a social disease, and I was an outcast. But I made it through to 92 today. I will tell you it's my birthday. If anybody knows enough to give me some gifts, I'll take any gift you want to give me. But I'll tell you this. When I connected the dots, I came to the reason that there is divine providence. That nothing happens by chance. And I'll explain a little bit more in the book. Now, as far as the contribution, this book, I just want to say one more word and then I'll get off. This book is devoted to the caretakers of the world. The people that take care of other people. I think we have to elevate people that are caretakers of the world. I hope to do it. I hope to leave a legacy of that. I think we had enough of the Kardashians and everybody on television. It's time that people that are helping other people, the good people in this world, not that the their desk and time. But people, I went out with one or two of them, they're fine. But we have to elevate, I think, the caretakers in this world. So if there's any nurses here, any doctors here, any practitioners here, I love you guys. These people took care of me for 6 years. When I was in a sanitarium, we had no doctors, we had no nurses. We just had orderlies that took care of me because the rest of the doctors and nurses were in the army taking care of the armed forces. And these guys had their own problems, drinking problems and drug problems. And they worked 6 days a week and then one day off and went downtown and the other day they were off and when they came back, you couldn't stand them because they stuck pretty much. That's what they're drinking all day. But I want you all to pray for and respect the caretakers in this world. I'll tell you what, people in life won't remember what you said or what you've done, but people in life will remember how you made them feel. So I hope that I made you feel good this evening, that you want to read the book, that you want to contribute to discovery. And my last words to you are, God bless you all.
One thing I want to bring up is, by the way, the book, it received the Axiom Award, and that's not, most first-time authors do not get that award. I mean, that's incredible.
Can I interrupt you? I'm sure. No first-time author ever received the award. The award's been given 14 years in a row, and I received silver medal for the award. So not that anybody didn't receive the award before, nobody received the award before. I want to make that clear. You should know better.
All right, here's the book, and he'll sign it, and we really thank you. And remember, all the money goes to the foundation, Walter and Vera Scherr Foundation, okay, which is a great foundation. So, thank you, Walter. Maybe one thing I'd like to have Walter talk about, though, just for a minute. He's got a unique slant on life with his 2080 program, and this is a program that I think the kids would even enjoy that are here today. Talk about your theory on the 2080.
I think this is a good theory for your personal life or business life. I think it can save you a lot of money. Not only that, I think that you'll be successful and save you from a lot of stress. If you take any matter, whatever it is, any subject, you'll find out, let me go back to where the theory came from. I forget the year, but I think it was 1905, an economist in Italy wondered who owned all the land in Italy. So he made a survey. The survey showed that 20% of the people in Italy owned 80% of the land. 20% owned 80% of the land. Therefore, the theory 80-20 was born. Now, when you're in production like I am, and machines and incidentally, I brought facsimile to the world. Right here. And that's in the book. So if you're building anything, you'll find out that 20% of the parts represent 80% of the cost. Without a doubt. Just think of your own self. Of all in your wardrobe, you have a lot of stuff, but I'll bet you 20% of the time you wear 80% of the time, you wear 20% of your clothes. That's true? I think if you find a look, you find out it's true. So in your personal life, if you have a checkbook, okay, I'm sorry about that. If you have your checkbook and look through your checkbook, if you write 40 checks a month or 50 checks a month, I guarantee you only 8 or 10 of those checks represent 80% of your cost. So concentrate on that 8 or 10 checks to to look at it closely, and you could reduce your own personal living and up your standards. I was in a therapy program, a physical therapy program. We had 6 guys. 6 guys performing therapy here in Florida. And I asked them to bring in their checkbooks for me. And I brought in checkbooks and I did send, I went through the 80-20 theory. And lo and behold, 6 or 8 checks for those guys every month represented 80% of their cost. But they never had looked at it that way. But I had them concentrate on the 6 or 8, 10 check what it was, and not the other ones going by. And lo and behold, each one saved $300 to $500 a month because they never had looked at it before. So look at your own checkbooks. You'll find out that only a few checks represent most of your costs. Concentrate on those checks. And if you can't figure out what to do about it, contact me and I'll help you. I'll help you through the 80-20 theory. But I think it's very important that we understand it. There's a lot written about it. If you want to study it a little bit, it'll do you good financially, personally, and in business. Thank you again, folks. Okay, anybody wants to sign my book?
Yeah, sign your book.
Sign the
Good job.